Hi everyone, welcome to this continuation of our autumn project. In this two-part masterclass, I'm going to be showing you the Chinese lantern, where we're going to be making the lanterns and also the leaves, and then also the autumn or fall cosmos. Now, cosmos is a popular, obviously, flower all times of year, but I'm going to be showing you more of an autumn color tone, and we'll be making the cosmos flower, the buds, and the leaves. So let's get started. So here we have the Chinese lantern. Now this is a very unusual plant, and it has these little lantern-like, hence the name Chinese lantern. This is also known as it's called a bladder cherry, and also love in a cage. And so it's very popular, especially in Asia, where it grows a lot, like in Japan, where I spent a lot of time, have big, as I said, Chinese lantern festivals. And it's very, very popular. And it's used a lot in cut flowers, dried flowers. So a lot of people use this in the autumn time as dried from their garden. And you can see here, this all shows the sort of the transition of the colors. So it is a member of the tomato family or tomato family. And so obviously, similar to a tomato, it's green and then it ripens. And you can see this sort of shows the sort of the going through from green to green and orange, obviously orange and more of a reddy color. So depending on how many you're making, you can obviously change the coloring on each of them. And you can see here, this shows this particular skeletonized one, you know, as the green tomato inside actually ripens, it changes orange color. And then obviously as they sort of, the seed, the lantern part dries, it skeletonizes and exposing this this beautiful sort of like fragile, almost like a sort of a spider's web cage. Here, there's just some another image here to show you. You know, this shows obviously the Chinese lantern in the autumn time, so like as a dried Chinese lantern. So you often see this used a lot in, as I said, autumn time with dry grasses and things like that. So it obviously fits perfectly, and you can see here is obviously some gourds and pumpkins and things used with it. So that will be the first project we're going to be starting with, and a very interesting project to make. And obviously we're going to teach you some new techniques and things that you can adapt to other flowers and products as well. Then we're going to move on to the cosmos. Now cosmos is a very popular flower, growing globally, but in England, Europe, or here in the US, in Asia. Cosmos is very, very popular. The most popular one is sort of the pinky colored one, but there are also varieties of cosmos that are more autumn colors. You know, this shows obviously some of the different colors. This particularly is called a black chocolate variety, and it's almost like a sort of chocolatey black burgundy color. But there's sort of a blue cosmos color, and then obviously you have these more autumn colors. And you can see this shows sort of a yellow one, and we're going to be doing a sort of one with yellow and orange. This is sort of just bright yellow, so this would be cute to use for, say, a 50th wedding anniversary. Orange obviously goes very nice in the autumn time. We're going to be doing sort of one with sort of some orange on top of the yellow, so a nice color combination. But as I said, these are some of the orange and yellow and sort of autumn colored varieties. And as I said, this is the black chocolate one, and you can see how the algae is almost a sort of a black chocolatey brown color with obviously a burgundy color. So those are some cosmos. For the Chinese lantern, we're going to prepare these balls that is like basically the fruit inside. So think of like a tomato. This is going to be green, and then obviously as it ages, it becomes ripened. So these are going to be made in green. Now we're going to use a different technique than we've done before, and then we're going to use a tissue or Kleenex and almost like make a mummified ball, and then wrap it with floral tape, like almost how you Egyptian mummy. And this makes the center, and I found this is really the best way. But this technique could also be used as an alternative to, say, using styrofoam balls, peonies, and different other flowers, camellias, and that have this sort of same shape center. Anyway, we're going to prepare 3 of these. In this particular project, we're going to make 1 green one and 2 orange ones. And obviously one of the green one will be sort of green with a little bit of orange, and then there'll be an orange and green one, and then one of the orange will have more red on it. So you almost will follow that life cycle I showed you. Of course, you could do 6 or 9 or 12, or however many you wanted to. But we're going to use this in our spray. Now we're going to take a Kleenex or a tissue, and these are the rectangular type of ones. You don't want to use the square box, all right? So just a regular, as I said, rectangle tissue. and it doesn't have to be a particular brand. You know, here in the US we call everything, this is called the Kleenex, and but basically it doesn't matter about brand. Just to give you an idea, you know, so this is about 8 inches long, all right, which is approximately about 21 centimeters, all right? So if sometimes, you know, tissues can come on longer, so if you cut it to about 21 centimeters or about 8 inches, but this is just straight out of the box. I'm gonna open this out, all right? And then using a pair of scissors, I'm going to cut this sort of basically just in half. Now we need 3 halves of a Kleenex. I'm going to show you 2 of these. All right, so we need obviously 3 total, so you need to cut 2 down. And what we're then going to do is going to take a wire here. So we're then going to take a 22 gauge wire. So in your supply list, in the checklist, it's got 3 half-length 22 gauge wires. These can be green or white, it doesn't matter. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to fold this into 8. All right, so you're going to fold it first of all into half, increase it, and then half again, and then half again. All right, so basically folded that into 8 pieces. Going to take the wire here. So with the wire there, we're going to just make a hook on the end of this. This is about 10 millimeters long, all right? So about 3/4 of an inch long. Just make a hook on the end of the wire here. And then you're just going to put that into here. And then just going to squash it. All right, so you're just going to squash the hook like this. So what that does is sort of helps to keep it secure on the end, all right? Now, you need to have some floral tape ready. This is half width light green floral tape. And what we're now going to do is going to use your, so once you hooked your wire around there, we're going to start to roll this, right? It's a bit like, you know, when we make ribbon roses. If you make ribbon roses, or we do them out of paste sometimes, or like ribbon roses, you start off just going around, almost like a Swiss roll or a jelly roll, like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of change the angle. I'm coming up onto the top a little bit. So you're just going around to sort of make this more ball shape. All right, now don't worry too much about this because we're going to be forming this into a shape. But you see how you just almost like roll it into a ballish shape. As I said, have your tape ready. And what we're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of tape. Now you want to wrap a piece of tape a couple of times, almost like a belt around the middle of it. All right, that will almost like hold it all together. And then literally what we're going to do is we're going to start to mummify this. So you see I'm changing the direction of my floral tape and sort of getting, you see, so I'm almost like bandaging it up to make this shape. Now, when you have done that, you're going to use, I found a good way to do this is use your measuring mold. If you don't have one of these, obviously you can use just form it with your fingers, but using your measuring mold, I'm just going to use it just almost like press into there. That helps to sort of form the Kleenex, the tissue, into a nice shape, all right? And so you're just going to go around, no set number of times. You basically are just going to go around here till you have no exposed white tissue Kleenex left, all right? So you see, you stretch your tape as you go. And so you see I've covered that all over with there, all right? And then you're going to then obviously form into a shape into the number 3 cavity. So then you can go, again, just sort of almost push that into the number 3 cavity. You can do it on the side. So you see how I'm rotating it in this. If you don't have that, you know, as I said, you can just do your fingers there, but that just helps to create that. And then going to go around here and then come down the wire here, about halfway down the wire. All right, and then what you can do is just now go back in and reshape it. So with your cavity, so you can just do the cavity here. And if you have any little areas, like see that when you obviously squash it into the basic shape, you might have a little bit of exposed Kleenex there, tissue. So you can just, again, just use a little bit more here, just around the back. But this technique can be used in different sizes, all right? And this would be about the size of a number 9 on the size guide. So if you think of this would be like a small number 9. So you see it fits in the number 9 hole, so basically would be about the size of the diameter of the number 9. Okay, so that will be, and I will show you that again so that you can grasp the technique. It's not difficult to do, but it's just to say have your tape ready, because then you'll be ready to go with the tape and you won't have to worry about holding it. So I said you take your Kleenex tissue, gonna fold it in half, and then half, half again. All right, gonna take your, make about a 20 millimeter, about 3/4 of an inch hook on the top of there. Put that on the end, and you just want to squash that. So squash that well with your pair of pliers, okay? And then, as I said, initially you just go round sort of on the spot. So it's like, as I said, making a ribbon rose that we do with paste. And then once you've sort of used about half of the tissue, you can then see I'm changing direction of this and going around, and that uses up the tissue. But this is also a very inexpensive way of making a center as well. And of course, for when making, like for example, sugar, this cuts down on the weight, all right, as well. So you're going to go around a couple of times with your floral tape, just like a belt. I will just hold it in place. And then you're going to start to mummify this. And when you do that, you sort of squashing it with your fingers. So you see I'm squashing it with my fingers here. And, you know, once you get it a little bit to shape, to go round, come back again, then you can use your, as I said, your number 3 on the measuring mold. If you have that, that just helps to sort of form it into the shape. And then just going to come around here like that. So we're going to completely encase the white tissue. It's going to be completely encased. And then you've got to come down here and then come down about halfway down with your green floral tape. Okay. This doesn't have to be perfect, but you, as I said, you wanting to sort of form it into a ball shape. So you're just going to go into the, and then just sort of form it into this. Just helps to form it into there. But say if you don't have the measuring mold, you literally can just squash this with your fingers like this, so it forms into a ball. All right, and remember this is going to be about number 9 size. So you see it sort of sits in the number 9 hole. So we prepare 3 of those, all right, and these will be ready for the next step. So in our checklist, it has for sugar, we need 15 grams or a number 12 of orange, flour paste, gum paste, flexi paste, and in air drying clay, a number 12 of orange. And you can use obviously the pre-colored air drying clay in orange, or obviously use white and color with gel color. And just use any brand of orange, pretty much just any brand of orange gel color, and just color that in a sort of bright orange color. All right, so this is what we need. What we're going to do, we're going to start off with the 2 ripe ones. These will be the orange ones. So we take 2 number 4 small balls of paste with the orange. So that's going to be measured on the size guide. So it's going to be a number 4 that just goes through the hole, and obviously you just measure another ball of same size. Okay. All right. You can put this back in your bag. We'll do that. One of these will go underneath my little cup. That will stop it drying. And what we're then going to do is going to just condition that with a little bit of vegetable fat, vegetable shortening, and that's going to stick on the top. Now this is going to be like a little buffer at the top. So on the Chinese lantern, this is what the lantern will actually look like. This is going to sit like at the top there. So it's going to be almost give you like a little bit of a pillow when we put the petals on here, because we're going to pinch with tweezers. Then it's going to give you a little bit of sort of bounce to it. All right. So we are going to take these number 4 small size ball of paste, and what you're going to do, you would take these and you're just going to slide up the wire here like that. Just slide it up the wire till it comes to the top. You're going to put a little bit of glue. Obviously for air drying clay, you would just use your PVA glue. A little bit of glue just goes around here. And you're just going to press that on. And then what I do is you just like almost like mold it down a little bit. It's like a little cap. And use your companion tool. See, I'm just using the companion tool just to sort of smooth that. So it almost looks a bit like the top of the conker that we did in the last project. And so you're just building that onto the top. All right. So that's the first one. And then you will then do the same on the second one here. So obviously, however many of these you're going to make, and I'm showing you 2 orange ones, you prepare the 2 of these. That's just going to be molded on and just smooth down just a little bit. So it's like a little cap on the top there. All right. And they will be ready for the next step. Now, next step is going to be to take the orange. So we're going to take the orange that's left from the 15 grams or the number 12. And we're going to roll that out on the pasta machine, number 4 thickness. So this is very much like when we did, obviously, the horse chestnut leaves, but we were using number 4 instead of number 3. So I'm going to get this ready, roll this out, and we'll be cut in. So just going to condition that. Just going to roll this out. So just condition it, give it a little knead, and we're going to then put a little bit of flour cornstarch down, and I'm going to roll this out. And we're going to be rolling this out, as I said, number 4, and we're going to be cutting a 90 millimeter. This is the medium size cutter in the Flower Pro cutters, all right? So this is the 70 millimeter, 90 millimeter, and 110 millimeter. So he's going to roll that out to about the size of it. So if you don't have a pasta machine, of course, you could just roll this out to basically about the size of it. We're just going to go through the pasta machine. That's going to even this out. So we're going to turn the pasta machine on. So I've got this set on number 4. I'm going to go through my pasta machine. So now we just put a little bit of cornstarch down. Remember, this is a little bit textured, this surface, so it makes it easy to cut on. And we're going to take the, as I said, the 90 millimeter cutter, 9 centimeter cutter, press down, go around in a circular movement, pull away the excess paste. And then we're going to recut this. So this is a technique like we've used before on other projects. So we're going to recut this. So just sort of line that up so it looks symmetrical. Okay, cut, go around. And then when you tap that out, this is going to give you basically a 10-petal daisy shape. So this technique we use for obviously lots of different things like sunflower calyxes and things as well. Your excess paste can go back in your bag. And then we're going to move on to the next step. So we recut, and then we're going to cut the flower in half. So you can use a cutting wheel or, as I said, like a little mini palette knife, something to cut this in half. So we're just going to cut that basically in half. So just going to go through there. So you cut this in half, and you're going to put 1/2 of this into your Stay Fresh flap. Okay, so that 1/2 goes in there. That will be for the second one. And we obviously have now the first one. All right, now we're going to cut to separate the 5 individual petals. All right, so when you cut this, you're going to cut here. So these will cut. So we're just going to cut to the center. So this gives them all the same sort of length. You can sort of do a recut, but just so they will all be the same sort of length. And then this will be the 5th one. Now they might vary a little tiny bit, like this one is a little bit wider than that. That doesn't matter because, as I said, we're going to be thinning this out in a minute. And then what we're going to do is going to put those back into your Stay Fresh flap. So you're going to sort of put one to the back here. So we put these into the Stay Fresh, line them up with the wide end away from you. All right, so when we put them in the Stay Fresh flap, we're going to put them in so that the wider end is away from us. and the thinner end is towards me. Okay, this is going to be the third. Just make sure that they look sort of fairly, you know, as I say, you need to trim anything off. This will be my fourth one. This is going to be my fifth one. You can just gently press with your knife, or you can use your flexi scraper there just to, as I said, smooth that off. Okay, so we've got these in the flap. Now, once we've done those, we're going to smooth the straight cut part of the petal using your finger. Apply light pressure. So what I'm going to do here is I'm literally just stroking from the sort of the wider part here, the straight part of the petal. Because remember, this is straight, this is curved. So we're just going to just sort of stroke down here. So that gets rid of that sort of cut look. So you can see here we've sort of smoothed. So you've got this sort of it's slightly thinned out the edge there, so it's not quite so square cut. It's just almost like you just sort of, as they've faded out the edge of the petals. Okay, now we're going to take one petal at a time and place onto the tip of the right hand side of the multi-leaf veiner. Press firmly with a cosmetic sponge. So what we're going to do is going to use the right hand side. You shouldn't need to use any vegetable fat or shortening on this, which we normally do when we use it as a double-sided veiner, because we're only going to vein one side. So I'm going to take the petals one at a time. I'm going to take those out of here. All right, and then what we're going to do is going to place this onto, so it's going to sit almost right at the top of the veiner. Make sure that you can see the central, the vein is going through there. It's going to obviously be right at that point there. Okay, and then we're going to use cosmetic sponge and press that firmly, nice and firmly on there. Remember, this is obviously a concave shape, so you need to just obviously press that firmly. And then what we're going to do is remove using needle tool and a companion tool, turn over onto the front vein side on a cosmetic sponge, and curl the edges on the rounded part of the petal. So here you're going to just lift that up. You see you're going to get this beautiful veining onto here. And then what I do is I place this onto the cosmetic sponge, a little bit like when we do a gardenia. I'm going to use the shaft of the companion tool. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to just slightly curl the left and the right hand side of that. So you see you've just sort of created like almost like a slight curl there. All right, now you want to put this underneath a cup. So you want a sort of a cup big enough to put all 5 of them under. And then we're going to take that and just position that there like so. I've got this on a little silicone mat, so that obviously you get like a little bit of a vacuum there, so the thing's not going to dry out. And you continue then with the next one. Now you can use your companion tool also to pick these up. We're going to just continue with 5 petals. So pretty much as I said, put that right at the top there. Just make sure that the point is there, the wider part is towards you. And then we're going to press that down with your cosmetic sponge. You're going to lift this off. And see, then you're going to put it onto there with the veining, heavy veining towards you. And then with your shaft of your companion tool, you're going to just curl. So literally what I do is I sort of press it just gently and just curl the paste over. All right, so you've got these edges will be a little bit curled. And then you're going to take that and put that underneath the pot. And you would do the third one. So we're going to put the third one here, just as I line it up to the top there. Make sure that the sort of the lateral vein, which is the central vein, is through the middle there. And then you're going to go on to here. Going to use your, as I said, companion tool, shaft. Just going to just gently do this on a cosmetic sponge, because you want something on this sort of soft, not on a hard pad. And just going to curl each side of there like that. Okay, and then the third. And then we move on to the fourth and the fifth. And this will be the fourth one. So again, we're going to just press that on. And then the sort of where the rounded part, you can just drop that off the cosmetic sponge, and then the fifth and final one is going to come here. Now this, some people make this flower or seed with using a calyx cutter, but I found that with the calyx cutter you really have too much, the shape is all together and you have too much excess paste. This is a much more successful way and looks much more realistic when it's made to use these individual parts. All right, so now we're going to take the, going to curl that around. Curl that around like that. Okay, then we're going to pop that into, so we got the five petals under the pot. All right, so then we're going to attach those. Now, obviously this one here we'll be doing, you would do that for the second one, and I'm going to show you one orange one, and I'm going to show you how to put together a green one as well. But so we've got those together. Now once we've done that, we're going to brush glue all over the paste and halfway down the ball and at the top, and attach and press gently onto the glue. So we're going to take your ball here. So we're going to take your glue. So we're going to brush that over that paste. So it looks a little bit like it's almost a green and orange conker here, and then just going to brush it over the ball as well. Just a little bit to make it sticky. Remember, keep your towel, keep your brush in a wet towel. Now with PVA glue, you can use obviously a needle tip applicator, or you could use a little plastic bag with like a wet wipe. I wouldn't use, but for let's say your glue for sugar, you can use your just a washcloth or flannel. Now what we're going to do is going to take the petals out of here, and these are going to attach. So we're going to attach the petal here, gently attach it to the top. Now you see this is where you've got the sort of the where we curl that edge, and then what we need to do is going to then, I'm working this way, so then you see that edge, I'm going to put a little bit of glue along that edge where the next one will be attached, and then I would take the second one, and then the second one will be attached to that. So that they almost where you curled them, they're coming up like that. That creates the sort of the rib that you have. So they just go in here like that. All right, and this is and then the third one. So then you see you're just going to put a little bit of glue on your edge, and then where you put that on, just attach that. So you see you create this sort of the ribs here where you've got that slightly curled edge. Now you can use your companion tool just gently to press into there to make sure that sort of secures that. You don't want to press too hard because you don't want to lose your detail on there. So really we're only putting the glue on this edge, you see, because then of course it will stick. So you've got your curled edge will go here. This will be the fourth one. And you can just use your finger if you need to curl that back a little bit, just press that on gently. And then the fifth and final one will go in there. So when you do the fifth one, you're going to put glue on this side and on this side. All right. And I'm going to take this last one, and that's going to sit into there like so. Okay, so just press on with your companion tool. So you see this is giving you the shape. Now, especially on that last one, if you need to just sort of move the fourth one out a little bit, so they will sort of sit into place, but just going to create your little ridges on there. Now we're going to use so we're going to create that. Once we've done that, we brush glue all over. So then we're going to repeat the last petal on both sides, and then needle tool, and then pinch using fine tweezers to remove and define the central vein to create the central vein. So on your, when you obviously put it on the veiner, so you're going to use your tweezers And with your tweezers, just where that central vein is, you just literally just pinch that. That helps to make sure that the petals stay in position, but also when you put them on, you're naturally going to squash it a little bit. So you're just redefining that central vein. Now here, you're going to hold it, and with your glue, what you're going to do is going to brush the glue, I'll show you from this side, on the inside. But when you do that, just keep it hanging upside down. So you brush the glue on the inside and use your fingers. All right, so with your fingers, you're going to gently start to work these pieces together. All right, so you're just going to sort of start to work them together. So because you want to sort of not really squash them too much, but just going to, so they sort of start to attach together. All right. But just do this with the flower in the upside down position. So the glue is just on the back there. And like on this last one, you know, if you need to just sort of open that out a little bit so you can get that hem in. Now also, you naturally, in real life, you're going to have little gaps. So you don't have to completely cover those. You see how there's like a little gap there, and that is totally fine. But you're just you just pinch very gently on you with your fingers, because you want to create that lantern shape, all right? And that's how you would make the Chinese lantern, okay? Now, a couple of things. First of all, you can make a smaller version of this. Like, for example, if you were doing a smaller cake, that is done exactly the same way, it just is done with the 70mm cutter. So if you wanted to ever make smaller Chinese lanterns, you can still use the same size ball, but you just use a smaller cutter, all right? And that would be the Chinese lantern. And what we're gonna do is gonna use, just use a little shelf rack we use for canned goods and things, or a drying rack. And what you would do is you just take that and just hang that upside down, all right? If you don't have something like this, you can actually just bend the wire. You can just bend the wire like that, and you can stick it in your styrofoam block. But if you hang a little hanging rack, and many companies that do hanging rack, Wilton do one, and FMM will do one. But so what you do is you're just going to hang the Chinese lanterns. So these ones are obviously already dry, ready to go on to the next stage. But you make obviously the next one exactly the same way. And then what we're going to do is we're then going to, I'm going to talk a little bit about the green, and I'm going to sort of show you the preparation and show you a green version. For the green underripe one, we're going to make a pale green. So in your checklist, it says we need 8 grams or a number 11 of white mixed with 8 grams and number 11 of foliage green. So I'm using pre-colored foliage green paste, all right? I'm going to mix these together. So what this is doing is going to make a lighter green. And with air drying clay, we make a batch of lime green and add a number 3 orange. So in your download, so we're going to make a batch of obviously the custom lime green, which is this color here. And then we add a number 3 of orange, and that makes this color that will match the paste, all right? So you make a batch. And then of course, once you've made that, you then add an equal amount of white to make a pale foliage green. So basically it's just foliage green and white mixed together. And when we come on in this in the second part, when we talk about making the cosmos leaves, I will show you also how you can custom color foliage green if you didn't have pre-colored foliage green. Now, once we've got this mixed together, we're going to then, exactly the same as we did with the orange, going to roll this out, number 4, and I'm going to cut out another 90mm cutter, and we're going to cut that in half. Now, we only need half of one because we're just going to make one green one, okay? And of course, when you're doing this, you would do the second orange one, and then you would then do the green, and then you're going to roll this out. So I'm going to roll this out, get it cut. I'm going to get most of the veining done, and I'm going to show you how to put this one again to show you the technique of assembly. So we're going to do the green one. So number 4 small, so just as I did with the orange. Remember, this is on the last ball that we prepared. So we just slide that up to the bottom. Going to put a little bit of glue just around the base of this. You can see now, having seen the orange one, the purpose this serves is like a buffer, and it's something to attach the paste to, because if you just try and attach it to the floral tape, it sort of sometimes slides. So I found this worked really well. So then give it like a little cushion, all right? So that's sitting on the top. Now I've already rolled out the paste, all right? So I've rolled out the paste. I cut out the 90mm as I did before, recut that, cut it in half. The other half goes back into your bag, which we'll be using for the leaves, so the foliage of the Chinese lantern. And then you're gonna cut them in to separate them. And again, same technique. So we're just gonna work down the straight part, which is this part here. Okay. And I'll just show you the start of these. So I'll just show you a couple of these and then I'll come back and show you the assembly. So remember, you're going to put this into your former on the veiner. All right. I'm going to press that quite firmly. Then we're going to come out here. You see there's your central vein. So that's when we do that end stage with the tweezers, because naturally when you put this on, you're going to squash the top a little bit. You're just re-emphasizing that ridge, that lateral vein down there. And remember, you put this onto your cosmetic sponge, and you can see now those two sides we're going to create like a flat part. When you attach one to the other, that means they can stick together. So it's just on that sort of rounded part. Just going to curl that. Just going to curl that a little bit here, and you see those are going to be your sides where they're going to be attached. So I'll just show you one more of those, and then I'll show you how we actually position those on. So this is exactly the same technique. It's just, as I said, just doing this in green. So this is just a pale green, because if we make the green too strong, then you're limited to what color shading you can put on, because we're going to be using some green and some orange and red on this. So. And then I'm just gonna curl that just gently around the two sides and put that under the cup. So I'm going to continue now with the other three, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to put these on. So now we've got the 5 petals. I'm going to attach those as we did before. So I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to brush the glue all over, basically all over this. Although you really point of contact, there's not going to be much happening down there, but you can just brush that all over the ball, because that helps when you make into the sort of lantern shape. The glue will repel off the floral tape a little bit, but it will sort of still make it sort of sticky. Okay, and then we're going to take so remember you attach it, so you attach this to the top just gently. All right, and remember you can use your tool here. Remember, this is and then it doesn't matter which way you go, wherever you find is sort of easier, but you're going to brush some glue on that sort of side part there. You'll see then the next one is going to attach. So then you attach that to the top. So you see, you create that sort of almost like a sort of a fin. You see, it's like a little fin there where the two attach. And then you're going to do remember, just press that on just gently with your companion tool. That will help to make sure that that's going to stick. And then the third one is going to go onto here. So you see here we've got the third. You know, if it flattened out a little bit, just put a little bit of glue, curl that slightly. And then this is the fourth one. So then, see, they just use your little companion tool to create these little fins, because this is part of the characteristic shape of the Chinese lantern. And then remember, on the fourth one, you will put glue both sides. So you put glue this side and put glue that side. This is the last one. And just put that into position there. So you see that's going to go up to the top there, like so. See? So we're going to create the fins onto here. Then with your tweezers, fine tweezers, all you're going to do is just going to really extend that. So this helps to make sure that everything stays connected. And you see how I'm just pinching where that lateral vein is, fourth, and then the fifth one here. All right, so that's the first part of it. And then you're going to put some glue. So we're going to put the glue on the sort of the inside. Now when you do that, just support this on your hand. So we're going to put that on the inside tip. All right, and I'm just going to come up a little bit here. And then just use your fingers like this, all right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to sort of start bringing them together, because you want to create that sort of lantern, but you want to do it sort of quite gently. You see, so that you'll just sort of bring them so they connect. You want to get this nice point onto here. Just have to have a little bit of patience there, because you just need that moisture on the tip. And you see how I'm just with my fingers just pinching that to the little point. You know, and if you have any that sort of like this part slide a little bit, you can do that. But remember, don't worry about any little tiny gaps, because those are that's normal in the actual real one. It actually makes it look more realistic. All right, and this is your green one. So 2 orange ones and 1 pale green one. And next we're going to use the leftover green paste to make the leaves. So for the leaves of the Chinese lantern, they are almost a little bit like the shape of a poinsettia bract. So if you look at my Flower Pro poinsettia, they're like the green bracts, which is this one here. But of course, this is way too big to make this. So we're actually going to create this effect using the blackberry and oak leaf. And what we're actually going to do is going to create these sort of scallop effect into them. And this makes a very, very nice leaf for the Chinese lantern. Now in your instructions, we're going to, first thing we will do is so we're going to be using this, obviously the oak leaf and blackberry leaf veiner, and we'll be using the poinsettia back. This is going to give us the back veining onto the leaves, and that will be used for the veining. And we're going to measure out, so in your instructions, it says we're going to make 3 small and 2 large, so measure out 3 number 6 and 2 number 7 small balls of paste. So this is going to be in the pale green that we've got left over. So we're going to number 6, there was once the number 6 regular size. All right, so that means 1/3 below, 2/3 above. So just like we would normally measure. So 3 of those, and then you need 2 number 7 small. That means number 7 small is just going to go visibly through the hole. So I have those ready. We're going to take the mold. We're going to brush a little tiny bit of vegetable fat shortening into the mold. So generally I just put a little bit of that onto the back of my hand, a minute amount, all right? I'm just going to rub that into the mold. And we have in your checklist, these are the wires, 28 gauge 3rd length white wires. So we have 5 of those. I've got these on a magnet. It makes it easy to keep them all together. And what we're going to do is take the number 6 ball, roll into a pointed carrot shape 3/4 of an inch, the length of the mold. So just condition the paste. I'm going to show you a small and a large, okay? And you can just roll that into the sausage with a pointed end, all right? So it wants to be approximately about 3/4 of the length of the cavity. So we're going to place that into the cavity there. Then you're going to press in with cosmetic sponge. You can use a cosmetic sponge, or a wedge also can be used here as well. So we're going to press that in and make sure it comes to the top, and then you're going to work to the edges, because you want the edge to be a little bit thinner. So then we're going to just work the paste to the edge of the mold. Now, because this is almost like a slight heart shape, the paste has a tendency to sort of want to fill into the hollow there. So make sure you sort of just push in there from the bottom, so you get that almost like heart shape at the base there. Okay. Now, once we have done that, we're then going to establish a ridge, create a ridge with fingers or the shaft of your companion tool. So remember, you can use your fingers and create the ridge about halfway down there, like so, by pushing with your fingers. So you see, create a ridge. Or also you can create a ridge with if you find using your fingers, you can use the companion tool. So it's going to create this little ridge. Going to dip your wire into your glue. So a little bit of glue onto here. You're going to press this into the halfway into the leaf. All right. and then we're going to press the veiner. So we're going to use the back veiner. So this is the poinsettia veiner, but because this is quite short, all right, so we're going to sort of line up the tip of the veiner with the tip here. So just sort of position those and make sure the wire is visible in the V shape. So you see the wire is in the V shape here. I'm just going to press it on there. So that's going to give you the veining onto there, onto the back, all right? And then we're going to take this out of the mold. This is a really beautiful leaf, and you can use this for, you know, a lot of different types of vines and things as well. And then I'm just going to use my companion tool to just press in each side of the wire. So you see you actually sort of have that sort of established heart shape. All right, now once we've done that, then going to next step is going to be, so then I'm going to remove, place on the soft side of the pad with the back towards you. So you place this onto your pad here. The back of the leaf is going to be up here, and press each side of the wire, so needle tool, and then using a ball tool end on the companion tool, make 2 or 3 indents on each side. Don't make too symmetrical, and then when we do the large leaf, we do 3 or 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool here, and I'm just going to just sort of push in 2 or 3 times, you see? So I'm just, so this side I'll do 3. So you're just going to go here, here. So, but you don't want to make this too symmetrical. So like you can do 2. So you're just going to push that in, all right? And then with your Dresden veining tool, we're going to take the veining tool end, which is the thin end. Remember, Dresden tool is the fat, wider end. We're going to then use this, so work with the veining tool to establish slight points on the scallops. So what I'm going to do is sort of like at the top of the scallop, if you look at like the top part of that scallop here, you're just going to use your veining tool to pull that out, veining tool to pull that out, and then you can do like an extra 1 or 2 as well. So you see at the top there, just going to pull that out gently. This is where the scallop is. Pull that out. You can do another one there. All right, this is done on the back of the leaf. And then once we've done that, we're going to soften the edge using shaft of the companion tool. So then with your shaft of the companion tool, I'm just going to just roll. Remember, I'm holding the companion tool at an angle here. Just going to soften the edge a little bit. Of course, you can also use traditional method of using a balling tool, but I use my companion tool a lot. And then you turn it over to the front side, and then you're going to, once we've done that, you're going to hollow the base using the needle tool end of the companion tool. So you're just going to just pinch that around the needle tool end of the companion tool, and you're going to pinch it like a taco shape. So you're just going to pinch it like a Mexican taco shell. So you have this sort of V shape. And then you're going to dry this in some convoluted foam. So you just dry that in some convoluted foam, and this is how you will make the leaves. All right, so you continue with 2 small leaves, which remember are number 6 regular size, 1/3, 2/3 above, and then you would go on to make 2 large size leaves. So I'm going to show you one of those. And then obviously the large leaf, we've already put our vegetable fat shortening into here, but each time just condition your paste. And we're going to make that into a sausage. All right, so you can roll it into a little sausage here with a pointed top. It wants to be about 3/4 of the length of this. So you're just going to press that in. So remember, you can use a cosmetic sponge or a wedge, and you're going to work the paste into the side here. You're going to do the same the other side. These are not too thin, these leaves, all right? So you're going to press that into all of the detail. Remember, just come in here with the companion tool and sort of press into the channel, because it naturally, the paste will start to work into that to establish that little bit of a heart shape. And then you're going to, so then we're going to create the ridge. Running down here, take your wire. We use white wire because green wire will be a little dark to go in this pale green. I'm going to put it in the channel. Now remember, this is going to go in about halfway into the leaf. And then you're just going to line up the top. So that's going to be, and then remember, just, if you obviously make sure that you've got the wire in that V shape. just going to press on there. So you're going to get your vein in like so. All right, and then you're just going to take this out of the mold. Remember, you can turn this over. And then you can put your, just press in with your little tool, companion tool, on the side here, like that, to establish that, like almost like a heart shape on there. Now then we're going to, so on the large one it says 3 or 4 times. So what we're going to do here, so you see I'm just pushing in with the ball tool end to create these little, so see, like I've done 4 on this side, I will do 3. So they're not too symmetrical, okay? And then with your veining tool, so at the top of the scallop, all right, so you think like here, here, this sort of angle, you're going to bring with your veining tool, just going to bring those out to, and that sort of establishes your point, all right? It gives you a sort of nice shape. And then I'm going to soften the edge slightly, so just going to do that with your so it's a similar effect to, so like, because it is related to the sort of the gourd pumpkin family as well. So this is almost like a sort of how you shape of a pumpkin leaf with those sort of serrations on it, but a little bit of a more elongated version. And then turn it over, and then we're going to use the needle tool end of your companion tool, then pinch that like a taco shape, so you get the shape here, and then you're just going to put that in your former to dry. So that's how you make, so you make 3 small and two larger leaves, okay? And but that's how you would do the leaves. All right, now the leaves would need to dry, and next I'm going to show you how we make we're going to start the cosmos, the autumn cosmos, making the center of the cosmos. So now we're going to move on to the cosmos, and the first part we're going to make is going to be the center. Of course, this is going to be dusted in the second part, but this is going to be a little spiky center with a ring of stamens around the outside. Now in your instructions, it says take a half length 22 gauge wire. Again, doesn't matter whether it's green or white. Using half width light green floral tape, go around 5 times to make a compact hook, and go around 5 more times and come down the wire halfway. So you want to just stretch your floral tape, and you're going to go around to get started. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And when you actually make the hook on this, you want to make this quite compact, which means, you know, normally the hook is the width of the floral tape, but you're just going to just bend that over. So you're bending it about half the width, so you're just making it a little bit of a tighter hook. All right, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to come down about halfway down the wire. So 5 times, and then sort of, but when you make the hook, just sort of try and make it as tight as possible. All right, so it's not too long here in this area. Now we're going to use paste. For this, we're going to make this in yellow. Now if you're doing traditional cosmos, you normally would make the center in pale yellow and then the petals in pink or purple or white. We're doing the yellow throughout, and then of course we're going to be dusting this to make different tonal colors. So this is 15 grams of paste, or a number 12 of yellow gum paste, flour paste, flexi paste, and a number 12 of obviously yellow of air drying clay, again straight out of the pack. So both the orange and the yellow for air drying clay you can just use straight out of the pack. So I'm going to use a number 6 size. So here we're going to, so then it says we'll be using a number 6 of that, and before we do that, we're going to just get the stamens prepared. Now these are small seed head stamens. When I make things like peonies, and I use a larger version of this. They're called seed head. It's just like a little flat end, and if you've only got round-headed ones, they will be fine, either white or yellow, because these are going to be dusted. And I've got 8 of these, okay? And you're going to just make these level, just tap them sort of level. And then these are going to be, once you've done these, you're going to cut them to 8 millimeters long. All right, so they want to be about approximately about 8 millimeters in length. So when you cut those, they will be a little bit shorter than obviously 10 millimeters, so about 8 millimeters in length there. And just gonna cut those, and then you will do the other ones. So just want to be a little bit less than 10 millimeters, so about 8 millimeters. Cut those through. All right, and just put those to one side so you've got those. Just make sure you haven't lost any, because sometimes that's easy to do. 36, 9, 10, 12, 13. Yep, there's a couple there. So then if you, that's right, about 8 millimeters long. All right, so then you've got your stamens ready. So have the stamens ready. And then we're going to, once you've got your stamens ready, you can do the paste. I usually do this in this way, because if you make the paste and then you cut the stamens, especially with traditional flower paste, gum paste, your center is going to be dry, all right? So what we're going to do is take a number 6 lemon yellow, brush floral tape bud with glue, and insert it into the paste, mold to the shape with flat top. So you're going to make it into like a flat, it's almost like a triangle shape. So I'm going to take your glue, going to put a little bit of glue on your floral tape bud. I'm going to push this in till it just disappears. Mold this around the bottom here. So you're making it into almost like an oval shape. Make sure you press that around the back here. So hold your thumb and first finger in a V shape. So that will give you almost that sort of like a triangle shape. And then you want the top to be flat. So it'll be like when we make a daisy, same sort of idea. So you see it's almost like a triangle shape. So flat on the bottom and then an angled here, angle here. Now we're going to use the daisy center mold. This is the sunflower, Gerber daisy, and daisy. So we're going to use a center mold we would use for the classic Marguerite daisy. And you're just going to press that in. And you'll stay within the perimeter of that mold. All right, now this will just give sort of the shape, the actual size and textural detail, but we're going to then be snipping with scissors. All right, so you just work within that sort of shape. So keep within the perimeter of that. And you're going to take that out. So obviously if you are making a daisy, this will give you a daisy center, but we're going to then use your fine scissors. Now these are spring action scissors. You can use just regular craft scissors. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to snip all over this. So you're just going around with your scissors on the sides. You see the cut is going down as far as that line from the mold. And then you're just going to snip around. So you just sort of go round and around and around. But you're using the scissors not like you would cut with, you're using them on their side. So we're just gonna go over the surface of this. So we're just making more of a textural. And we're going to be using obviously the mold, the bud mold, and other parts of this as well. We'll also be doing the petals in this, but you're just going to trim it so you've got these little textured pieces in the center there. So just going to make little cuts. So just as I said, you get this sort of spiky center. Then you're going to take your stamens, and then with your stamens here, now the stamens are going to sit. So they're going to go around the edge. So they're almost going in at the same angle of the paste. And you see they're sitting right on that edge. All right, so they're going to go around. Now you can use your fingers for this as well. We're just going to press this in. I don't have any egg white on these. I'm just going to go around, just putting the stamens in. And so they will just have a little ring on them. As I said, you can use your fingers or tweezers, whatever you find easiest. These are quite short, so sometimes it's easier to do those with your fingers. All right, and then we're just going to put the 16 stamens, the white or yellow stamens, because they're going to be dusted anyway, because we're going to use, of course, this yellow as a base color, but it's going to look quite different when it's all finished. Now you see how they sit? All right, so they're sort of sitting in a ring, want to be about level. And you see they're elevated up a little bit, all right? I'm just going to continue with the other ones. And if you, of course, were making, say, 3 of these, we're only making 1, but if you were making 3 of these, you could, of course, cut your stamens, have those all ready, and then make the center. But as soon as you've got the center done, attach the stamens. You don't have to use any glue on these. They will obviously embed themselves into the soft paste. And then the last couple here. So I have 16 little stamens. And that will give you the little ring of those, okay? And then that's just put to dry. Now next we're going to move on to the petals. Now there are many ways to make every single flower. I mean, I've made over 400 varieties of flowers, and so there's multiple ways you can make many flowers. Like roses you can make with individual petals or a blossom cutter. It's the same here. Some people make cosmos with a cutter, and I'm going to show you a technique of using wired petals. So these will be individually wired attached, which gives you the option to be able to close up or open the flower. It's a little bit more lifelike doing this, but as I said, that will be the next step, the petals. So for the petals, we're going to make 8 petals. Now most varieties of cosmos have 8 petals. So we're going to use the same technique we use for the Chinese lantern, all right? And we're going to cut, but we're using, this is a 70mm cutter. This is the one we use, a 90mm for the Chinese lantern. We're using a 70mm, which is the smallest size of the 3. Now we're going to, in your directions, it says roll out the yellow paste. So you roll out what's left of your yellow paste, number 4 on pasta machine, and cut out using a 70mm small blossom cutter. So I've already rolled this out as I've shown you that technique. Put a little bit of cornstarch, corn flour down. So we're just going to take the cutter and remove that. Then once we've cut, we're going to recut. So just like before. Remember, if you look directly on down into this, you will sort of see, you want to try and make it as symmetrical as possible to make sure that they're going to be approximately the same size. When you recut, take the pieces off here. Now we actually only need 8 of the 10 petals. So if you do have one that's a little skinny, obviously you can use to reserve that. Not use that one. Put your paste back in your bag. We'll be using that for the buds. And then we're going to then separate again. So usually the easiest way to do this is to sort of cut in half. And then you see how I'm going to take your, and I like using a little mini small palette knife. Because also it's not going to damage the surface of my workboard either. So what I would suggest you do is you just keep the 10 petals in your flap, because when we, as you'll see, when we cut the tips of the petals, you might mess up on the first one, so then you can obviously just take it off and redo another one. I'm going to put these into your, so I'm going to put those into my piece here. All right, so I've got the 10 petals in there. Remember, we only need 8 of these. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to move on to the next stage. So then we're going to place on the size guide ruler with the thin end of the petal at 28mm and cut off at 0. All right, and I'm going to show you this a couple of times so you understand what we're doing here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the pointed end at 28mm. So that's obviously just before. So you see I've got 2mm in from the 3 and 0, all right? So this is 28, so this will be 28. And then where the 0 is, which is there, you're going to make a cut, all right? So that's going to cut off the petal square because the Cosmos petals are square. So cut it off at 0. Remember, I'm going to be showing you this again. Using pinking shears, line it by positioning the petal edge on the top of a point and cut to create the 3 lobes. I'm using pinking shears. Now, obviously pinking shears, there's different sizes of pinking shears, and I'm doing them with the pinking shears actually upside down, all right? Normally, because I find that it's easier to see this, all right? So as you can see, you've got the pinking shears here, all right? And I'm going to take the petal and I'm going to put that on, so the end of the petal is in the top of one of the, let's open it up a little bit so you can see. All right, so you're going to put that there like that, and then you're just going to cut down, and you see that will cut it into 3 sections. All right, so and I'm going to show you this again. I'll do these 3 times so you can sort of see the technique, but that's where, as I said, your first one you could mess up. So where the the cutter is there, so you see that the petal edge is going to be lined up on the, so it's actually going to be lined up on the tip of one of the cuts there like that. So then you'll cut through and you'll get 3. Now, of course, there are alternative methods of doing this. You could use a pair of scissors and cut 2 little V shapes, but this is a perfect way to cut the end of the petal. And then we're going to take the wires. Now I've got here 8 28 gauge white wires, 3rd length wires, so just like we use for the Chinese lantern leaves. So then you're going to just dip the wire into egg white, and in your instructions, so then you're going to take, this is the wire here, dip into glue and insert 1/3 of the way into the petal, and then mold at the base and place onto the top, place onto the 2nd petal veinner up from the bottom of the Gerber daisy. So here, I'm going to take this, so you're going to go in about 1/3 of the way into the petal here, so just about 1/3 of the way up the petal, just mold around the bottom. So you only need to go about 1/3 of the way up the petal here. Now we're going to use the Gerber daisy, which is the one with five petals on. Okay, so this is the one with 5 petals, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this so it just sort of, you have to squash it a little bit, but you see how it's just going to fit into the shape of there, and the wire is coming out at an angle, so it'll come out right where the sort of the V shape meets. All right, so that's how we're going to do it. So just going to make sure that sort of fits into there, so it's not going too far up. So you can see you're almost is going about halfway down the length of the petal part. Remember, I'm going to show you this a couple of times, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the fan veinner, and we're going to place the fan veinner onto here, and go press on with the fan veinner. The fan veinner is going to be, the point of the fan veinner will be where the wire is. All right, so that's going to give you, and you can just push in with your fingers if it squashes out a little bit. So you see how you got, because this is actually what we're going to use as the front of the petal, the veining from the fan veinner, because this is a little bit more realistic for the cosmos. If obviously the other side of that is more like straight lines, which is suitable for certain flowers like Gerber daisies. All right, so anyway, so we're going to press this in, and then we're going to take that out. So once we've done that, you're going to remove from the veinner, turn over onto the soft side of the pad. This will be the back of the petal with the finer veinner. So you turn it over, so it's on the sort of, it's got the finer veining on there. Again, you can use your companion tool if you need to just sort of reshape that. And this, so this is the back of the petal, all right? And on the back of the petal there, turn over onto soft side of pad, using the needle tool end of the companion tool, frill the petal where the 3 lobes are. So with the needle tool end of the companion tool, I'm going to just almost make like some little, like sort of gentle slashes into the, so that's going to give you this little shaggy look. That's on the back of the petal, all right? And then once we've done that, so then you're going to frill the petals where the 3 lobes are, turn over to the front of the petal, the fan veinner texture on cosmetic sponge, and use needle tool or companion tool to work from the petal tip in, make a fine line following each petal shape, and hollow the base with the needle tool of the companion tool. So that's where so you turn it over now. So this is going to be the front. And on this side here, I'm going to just use the needle tool, and I'm just going to come in. So you see how it's going to create that effect like a bit like on a peony. And I'm going to follow the shape of the petal with the needle tool end, just following gently around the shape, all right? And then on this side here with the companion tool, needle tool end, you're just going to hollow the end here. Now, what we're then going to do, so that's the front of the petal. So remember, the back of the petal has got the more symmetrical lines, and it's where you made that more of a shaggy look, all right? So then you're going to turn it over, and you're going to put it into a spoon, all right? So you're going to put it into the spoon so the back is towards you, and it's just going to sit in the spoon like this. Now, when you do this, these are yogurt spoons, frozen yogurt spoons, which I've used a lot of the Flower Pro, obviously Members Club projects. And so you can obviously use frozen yogurt spoons, but you can also use just regular plastic teaspoons for this, because it's not a very long pedal, all right? And on, for example, my when I did on my Flower Pro's birthday, obviously on the birthday I used the zinnia. So the zinnia was done in the same technique as this. All right, so dried in a spoon. Now in the Flower Pro group projects, we also sometimes can cut the handle off the spoon, and I've just hot glued those onto a board. This is what we use when we did the roses and certain other projects. All right, so this download is available. So you can just put this onto, with a glue stick, onto a piece of foam board or wood, and you can pair this, and this has got the numbers. And it just means when you're doing things like roses, you know which your first petal is, the second, third, fourth, fifth. But for this, you can use your board like this, or just use your teaspoons, all right? So I'm gonna go through and show you that again, all right, a couple of times, just so you understand it. It's really not a difficult technique. It's just, as I said, it's just understanding that's what you do on the back and the front. So remember, you just line that up so the tip of the petal is going to, and when you do that, you normally want to line it up so it's 2 millimeters in from the edge, and you see this is the 0, so it makes it really easy for us to cut off there. Okay. Now, as I said, you know, normally when you're using pinking shears, you're using so you can do them that way, but just so you, or you said you can turn them upside down, whichever you find easiest to sort of handle. Okay. But anyway, so what you do is you're going to put so you see the little points here. You're just going to line it up so the edge of the petal is at a point, and then you're going to cut here like that. So that will give you your 3 lines. I'm just going to show you the cut in of this one. But you see, so what you do is you just obviously once you cut this to the 0. So you just line it up. So the tip of the petal on the side closest to me is right at the top of a point, and then you're going to cut like that to create, so you get the 3 little lobes. And that's how you will create the top. Now you can buy pinking shears, smaller size pinking shears, that obviously doesn't have a long blade on for craft use. So, so then we're going to move on to the next step. So, okay, we're going to take the wire. Remember, it's a 28 gauge wire. So this is actually quarter length wire. So all you need to do is in the checklist, it's got 8 quarter lengths, 28 gauge white wires. So all I did is I just took 2 wires and cut them in quarters. So that gives you 8 wires. Now, so you're going to take your end of this, going to thread the wire in. Remember, going to go about 1/3 of the way into the petal. Just mold around the bottom there, like so. You're going to take your, here, going to take the, remember the Gerber Daisy one, this is the one with 5. Now the reason I found this works better on the second one is just the angle works better. So you see you position it and almost going to have to pressure paste in slightly, all right? But you see how you just sort of press the paste into there, so it's about halfway into the petal and then extending down here. And you see the wire is coming out where the V shape meets. Then we take the fan veinner, and you position the fan veinner on there. So the top of where the wire meets the petal, that's the base. So the fan veinner is obviously sitting in here. I'm just going to press onto there, like so. Remember, if the paste squashes out a little bit, you can just press in while it's in the mold. Okay. Now remember, ultimately this is going to be the top of the petal from the fan veinner, because you can see the difference in the veining from the fan veinner is a little sort of coarser and a little bit more irregular. And the one on the back is a little bit more regular, okay? So that's going to be the side we're going to work on first. So on that back petal, okay, we're going to use your companion tool, and we want to almost feather where the 3 lobes are. So that's going to be done on the back. And then on the front of the petal, you're going to just work this. You know, this is fairly similar to like when we do a peony, when you work from the outside to the in. And you're going to follow the shape of the petal, and then you lift this up and hollow the base around the companion tool, all right? And then what you're going to do is going to turn it over so you're back to the back here like that. And you then are going to just dry that in upside down. All right, so the spoon, the wire is going in an angle like a Chinese soup spoon. Because what will happen in the second part when we finish these off, these will, when you then have obviously dusted them and things, these are going to sort of go curve out. So they're actually dried upside down. So last one, and I'll just show you this last one, and then I'm going to show you the buds to finish up with. So remember, I'm going to put the wire in. But so when you do your first one or second one or third one, you might mess up a little bit on the pinking shears. But just as I said, just remember when you line them up with the point. All right, so we're going to put this wire in. Remember, just almost squash that a little bit so it fits within that shape. All right, and then with your fan veinner here. All right, so it's sort of in the veinner, so you can see how it sits. You can turn it over to the side that's got the symmetrical lines on it, which for some flowers you would use it that way as the front, all right? And then with your companion tool, needle tool end of the companion tool, you just feather in that a little bit. That's on the back. Then you turn it over onto your cosmetic sponge, and you're going to work from the outside in. You're following the curve of your petals here like this, and then with your needle tool end of the companion tool like that. And then, as I said, you turn it over and you put it into your former upside down there like that. And so you just will continue, so you've got the 8 petals will be completed like that. Now the next thing we're going to move on to, which will be the last part of this first part, is going to be the 2 cosmos buds. We're going to make 2 sizes of buds, a small and a large. So we're going to, in your instructions, it says taking a half length 24 gauge wire, again it can be white or green, half length, create 2 floral tape buds as for the flower center, but this is a slightly softer wire. Remember, flower center was on 22 gauge wire, this is 24 gauge. So we're going to just going to go around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then using your pair of pliers, just going to make a compact. So remember, when when we do most of the time a floral tape bud, we would take at the end where the floral tape bud meets. When we make a compact bud, you're going to sort of hold your pliers halfway down. So you're just making that a little bit sort of shorter, so it's not quite so long. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and come down about halfway down the wire. All right, so then you're going to measure off your paste. Now we need a number 6 large and a number 7 regular. Now we don't very often use large size, but what large size, when we make just a regular size, you're 1/3 below, 2/3 above, the number 6 size here is going to be large, which means you have about 3/4 above and just about 1/4 below. So it's a little bit less on the other side here. So 3/4 above the paste, 3 above the top and about 1/4 below. All right, so it's just like an oversized paste. And then number 7, regular size, 1/3 below, 2/3 above. Okay, and what we're going to do, we're going to use going to take my little paste here. I'm just going to roll that into a sausage, and we're going to use the bud mold. Now, this is the bud mold here on the same we've just been using. So you put this little sausage of paste, you just put that into the mold. You see that's going to sit in the middle. And with your companion tool, just going to press in using a ball tool end of the companion tool. So it just helps to just press it in just a little bit. And then you're going to put some glue. So a little bit of glue is going to go onto the floral tape bud. And then you're going to press in, glue over the floral tape, push into the paste, and note the base of the floral tape bud will still be visible. So when you push this in, you don't make the floral tape bud completely disappear, all right? So you're just going to have that into there. And because if you push it so the floral tape bud disappears, then what will happen is it's going to come out the end of the bud. And then you're going to flex the mold twice, so you flex it, and you flex it like that. so that when you take that out, you see it's going to give you your sort of like, almost looks like a little yellow pumpkin. I'm just going to mold the paste around the wire here, so just at the bottom part there, and then mark towards the inside with a needle tool. So just at the top here, you can just press in with your, in between each of those ribs with the needle tool end. That will just sort of emphasize that, and that will give you your cosmos bud. All right. So, but just mold the paste around the back there. And use a little bit of corn starch if you need to, just to sort of mold that around. All right. And that's how you do the small bud. Now, when we do the larger bud, exactly the same technique. All right, we're going to mold this into sausage shape. So condition this. So mold that into sausage shape. And you're going to put this into the mold. Again, it's going to be a little bit higher than the top of the mold. All right, we're making this a little bit bigger. Going to press that in with the companion tool and put some glue onto this. Going to press that in. That one will sort of go in until it just disappears, all right? And then you're going to flex the mold one way and flex the mold the other way. And you see this is going to give an extension on this. So you're then going to use your fingers, just sort of bring that down. So you can just bring it down. So you're making it a little bit more elongated. And you can just trim off a little bit at the bottom. That will help to almost cauterize it. But you see, I'm just going to just mold that around so it just has this sort of extension on the bottom. And then we'll use the same sort of technique as we did on the other one. So using your needle tool end, you're just going to push into the very center. So that just emphasizes that. So you just push that into the center part there. And then what we're then going to do, and you're going to snip the tip of the 8 ridges. So then with your here, because this is a more mature one, where the 8 little ridges are, you use your scissors and you're just going to snip. This would be like how we do the dahlia and things like that. And on the anniversary zinnia, I use the same technique. So you just get that. So it just makes the bud look a little bit more realistic, like it's just starting to open. And then all you're going to do is then on the side here, you're just going to continue those lines. You see, like in between the sort of the ridges, I'm just going to continue those lines coming down here. And the last one is there, like that. So that gives you the shape of your bud. All right. But as I said, if it's a little bit long at the back, because it just wants to be sort of proportionate. But see, if you use your scissors and you cut off, what happens is that helps to sort of cauterize. So it's be almost a bit like a cherry blossom bud with this extension on the back there. All right. So those are your 2 sizes of buds. So you've got your sort of the smaller one and the larger bud there for your cosmos. So this is our what we need for production from the first lesson. So we made 3 Chinese lantern, 2 orange, 1 green. Remember, this is all on your instructions, how many and what color. We have 5 Chinese lantern leaves. We have 3 small and 2 large. We then moved on to the center of the cosmos. We have 1 of those. We have 1 small and 1 bud, and then also the 8 petals. And so this is what we are going to make on the first part. This will be ready for the second part. Now in part 2, we will start off by making the cosmos leaves, because those are actually piped in air drying clay or piped in fondant onto wires, which is a really cool technique if you haven't seen that. We'll make those first so they can dry for a few minutes. Then we're going to finish off the Chinese lantern, which basically is finished. It just needs to be taped to colored and assembled. And then of course we're going to do the coloring on the cosmos and assemble the cosmos flower, and those have calyxes on them, which will be used in a small daisy on the daisy mold. So I hope you've enjoyed this first episode in Chinese lanterns and autumn cosmos. We'll have fun making these and be ready for part 2, where I'm going to show you how to finish them off. Until next time, sweet wishes, bye!